Mustard on that beat. Mustard on that beat. Ho. Mustard on that beat. Ho. Mustard on that beat. Ho.
Mustard on the beat, ho. DJ Mustard is a prolific DJ who's a Grammy award-winning platinum producer with hits for YG, Rihanna, Omarion, Big Sean, Tyga, and way more than I can count. Also having a specific beats folder for certain artists like Jay-Z, Kanye West. The certified hitmaker cultivated artists in the West like YG producing his debut album that is hailed as a classic, My Crazy Life, and creating a new sound in the West Coast. We gotta put respect on Mustard's name. Let's go where it all began, before Mustard hit the waves around the world with his club bangers. Mustard would come to find DJing at a young age and end up making beats for YG, who was one of the first to rap on a Mustard beat, and also the one who's behind the identifiable tag, Mustard on the beat, ho. In an interview, Mustard said, "I started making beats for YG. He was one of the first people to do my beats. I started with him, so for us to do a mixtape was easy. We created this dancing sound. I feel like we owed it to the streets, and we're not stopping," end quote. And you damn right he ain't stopping. Now this dancing sound Mustard would later call as ratchet music. This sound is now echoed throughout the whole LA area. Mustard's body of work has been recognized by critics as sonically cohesive and recognizable. The hit that got Mustard on was Tyga's Rack City, which was a huge success and a strip club anthem. In 2011, this was only the beginning.
But when did you start going from DJ to actually producer, like working beats?
Probably like after like Rack City, when they started figuring it out. I had to put in my work.
So Rack City was one of those that do you think that was the one where people start taking look at you?
Yeah, everybody wanted the Rack City. They all wanted the same thing. It took like 2 Chainz and Jeezy to do other things on my beats instead of like the Rack City sound.
Right.
I feel like if I would have kept doing that, I wouldn't have been.
Later on in 2012, 2 Chainz dropped the Mustard-produced I'm Different, and Mustard would continue to work with other acts. Later, he would link up with YG, his day one, and create the hit song My Nigga, which would take over the West Coast and soon the country. Mustard and YG were arguably known as a great duo, and many other rappers were hitting them up for beats and collabs. After the release of YG's debut, My Crazy Life, Mustard would then continue to work with other artists like Ty Dolla $ign, RJ, Kid Ink, and other LA acts. He then made a mixtape titled 10 Summers in 2014 while the streaming era was barely popping off, and had the most downloads on Google Play Store. The way Mustard put it, he didn't want to just make a wave in hip-hop for a year and not be relevant anymore. He wanted to make a stamp on hip-hop with his specific and recognizable beat style, which was heavily copied throughout the 2014 and 2016 era of rap, like Iggy Azalea and Gideon.
I just don't want Jadena, or I don't care about it. Jadena is one of us, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, Janelle Monáe, I did a lot of songs. I did some songs with her, and I don't want it to make it seem like I'm just hating on them. I just felt like it was a rip, and it is a rip.
No, you're right.
If it wasn't a rip, you wouldn't have been doing this right now. You could have did your own whatever sound it is, and we all know what's going on in this generation. I'm not saying I started anything. I'm well aware that I took from John, I took from Dre, I took from everybody, but them are my elders. I'm supposed to. That's what I'm supposed to learn from. So I don't want nobody to think I'm just thinking.
Mustard would then get into a lawsuit and would stop producing for about a year or so with Mike Lee, who also helped Mustard with his big hits that we all love, like Big Sean's I Don't F With You, Rack City, and other songs like Kid Ink, Show Me, and more. This situation would end up having a halt on all music endeavors for Mustard till it was all over. Mustard would research back, then he would produce another smash by none other than Rihanna on her Anti album, which was a big highlight of the year of 2016. The Anti album was phenomenal, with the single Needed Me being a huge hit, and Mustard was back on and going even further, now with cultivated artists like YG and him running their own label, 10 Summers. and signing with Roc Nation, Mustard would make another collab album titled Cold Summer with the acts of YG, RJ, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, and more. Mustard showed that given the tough situation that he was in, there was still music that needed to be played and way more work to be put in. Fast forward to 2019, after the tragic passing of Nipsey Hussle, Mustard would release The Perfect 10, a collab album / tribute of what he deems the 10 best records for his album that he's been cooking up, with the single Ballin' by Roddy Ricch becoming a smash hit and dominating playlists and getting platinum records, with the single Ballin' by Roddy Ricch becoming a hit record and dominating the playlist and radio waves. This song would propel Mustard to even greater heights, which this song was the first collab with each other. Mustard continues to produce for hot new artists like Pola G and LMA, which is his own artist that he's cultivated for a very long time, since 2017, becoming way more versatile with the artists that he's working with. His sound is definitely different than what it was before. And Mustard definitely deserves his flowers for the level of impact that he's had on the culture of hip hop, and definitely deserves respect on his name.